Hi everyone, welcome back to another week of finishing school. This week we're going to be talking about Kaling, probably the most difficult boss so far. This PowerPoint is a lot longer than the other ones, so just get ready for that. As always, remember to assign your roles. This is just an important way to get notified whenever people do boss carries or just want to form specific boss parties. You'll get a ping every time someone adds for example, at lose it at will down there. Okay, for Kaling specifically, make sure that you have the listed amount of sack. These are pretty different. 230 for easy, 330 for normal, and 350 for hard than some of the other grandest bosses who maybe are a little lower or higher sack requirements. And as always, make sure that you check your damage and that you're actually able to do the boss. If it says impossible, you can't do the boss yet. All right, Kaling. If you've ever seen these kind of like infographics before, these are just kind of like a quick demonstration of how the main mechanic works. The main mechanics of this fight are the willpower, which you start at 1,000. You share that 1,000 with your entire party. So every time any of the people, assuming you have a 6-man party, anytime someone dies, you lose 50 willpower per death, like HP death. On top of the willpower system, there's a gauge. This gauge is really complicated. And I'm going to try to break it down as best as I can, but if you need to, make sure you're rewatching the video just to kind of get everything, because this gauge has to come second nature when you're doing this fight. You can pull up an infographic, but I find it a little inconvenient to like have to glance and then focus back on the boss and all that. Just start learning the gauge. Every time you get hit by any of the monsters, we call them perils, you will increase a certain part of this gauge and decrease another part. For example, this otter right here is getting hit by the tiger, which corresponds to this blue teal section of the gauge. Because he's getting hit by the tiger, it'll actually increase this portion, the teal portion, but at the same time decrease the yellow portion because you're drawing from here to increase this. Let me say it again. You are drawing from this yellow section to increase the blue section by getting hit with tiger-related attacks. Okay. Just remember, all of this teal section relates to tiger. It's going to get a little complicated after we introduce the other perils who aren't the same colors as their gauge section. This is dog. He relates to the purple gauge. As you increase the purple, you simultaneously decrease the teal blue, right? Because you're drawing from this section to increase this section. Dog relates to the purple. And finally, I don't know why it's yellow, bird increases the yellow section, but the strings are not yellow, and then decreases the purple section. So bird attacks increase yellow and decrease purple. Just remember, the bird relates to the yellow section of the gauge. Here's where things get extra complicated. Sorry to anyone who's colorblind. I tried to put this graphic here to show that there are different flowers that bloom for the corresponding strings, but if you're not colorblind, you should see these pretty obviously. There are these red strings, these green strings, and these yellow strings. They also correspond to each of the perils. The red string relates to the bird. The green string relates to the tiger, and the yellow strings relate to the dog. I'll say it one more time. Red strings relate to bird. So anytime you get hit by a red string, these are kind of like the same as the ones that Lucid puts up. If you get hit by red strings, the yellow section of the gauge, the bird section, will increase. Anytime you get hit by the green, it's like if you're getting hit by tiger, and anytime you're getting hit by the yellow one, it's like you're getting hit by the dog. So anytime you catch a green string, your teal section will increase. I'm just gonna call it blue. Blue tiger gauge will increase, and the yellow bird gauge will decrease. Anytime you catch a yellow string, your purple dog gauge will increase, and your tiger blue gauge will decrease. And finally, if you get hit by a red string, your yellow bird gauge will increase, but the purple dog gauge will decrease. Anytime any of those gauges actually go to the maximum or minimum, which is 1,000 or 0, as you can see, these are all split evenly, 500, 500, 500. If they increase to capacity or decrease to the minimum, you will boom your gauge. This means that your willpower will be decreased by a lot, and that portion of the gauge and all the bonuses related to it will not be applied to yourself or your team, your party. It's very important not to boom gauge until P3, and that's only if you're doing a very special cheese strategy that we'll talk about. Okay. I took forever to make this infographic, but I'm pretty proud of myself. If you need to, take a second to screenshot. It'll be in the video. You can do !Kaling in any of our channels, and the bot should reply with this infographic as well. This is an easy way to identify which strings correspond to which peril and how the gauge will increase or decrease by drawing from the previous section. Hoping this helps. There are a lot of other guides online that do the same thing. Just find what you're comfortable with and use those graphics. Okay, phase 1. We're going to split phase 1 into 3 sections. When you go into the loading screen in Kaling, you actually get to choose which peril you go into. You can go into tiger, dog, or bird. Only 2 people at max can be in one peril at the start. So you have to select, okay, this person will do dog, this person will do tiger, this person will do bird, etc., etc. Specifically, when you come into tiger, tiger's going to spawn in the middle, you're going to spawn in the middle as well. Because the tiger is related to the green strings, there will be no green strings that spawn in this map. Instead, you need to get hit by tiger to spawn, or any of his attacks, to increase the tiger blue gauge. Again, no green strings. There are red strings and yellow strings to each side, respective left and right, respectively, so that you can manage the gauge while in this room. You don't have to go to the other rooms or have to expect your party to like get hit by the other perils in order to manage gauge. Tawu is his name. I'm not going to say it the entire time. I'm just going to call him Tiger. Every time, or as long as Tiger is alive, he will spawn shields on top of the other 2 perils. It's more annoying than anything else. It's kind of like the Lotus shields, but it'll disappear every 20 seconds. But once you kill him, he can no longer spawn shields on the other 2. This is the primary mechanic of this specific tiger room in P1. These are what we call puddles, shock zones. They look like puddles because they're blue. These will appear every time he does a specific attacks or teleports, and they do damage over time and increase the tiger gauge because, you know, we're in tiger. There are 2 things that are useful about this. If you see these coils right here, these are Tesla coils. You can get Tiger to attack these Tesla coils to start setting up I'll explain that when we get to the strategy section of this. You can also use your interact button to get aggro him to the Tesla coil that you're standing near if you're standing there. Vice versa, if you want to get rid of puddles, if there's a Tesla coil that is in the middle of sets of puddles, you can hold your interact button to get rid of them so that you don't accidentally land on the puddles if you're moving up and down platforms. Short of that, puddles spawn, you need to do things with them. He has a teleport, but this one specifically doesn't do any damage. It just creates 2 puddles. He also has a whirlpool attack where he raises his trident thing upwards. It's deceptively big, so if you're standing near him on the top platform, you can still get hit. This one does give Tiger Gauge, Tiger Green Gauge, Tiger Blue Gauge, because you're getting hit and taking damage. He also has a slam attack where he slams his trident thing on the ground. It also hits the top platform. As long as you're not directly in front of him, you shouldn't get hit by it. This one increases Tiger Gauge and creates 2 puddles. He has a rush attack, which can be mitigated if you have an untouchable debuff, like the Night Lord Showdown debuff. Does a small amount of damage, creates 2 puddles, and increases the Tiger's Gauge. But as you can see, you can dodge this pretty easily by just stepping behind him. All of his attacks can be dodged pretty easily by just stepping behind him as he's doing them, and they have pretty slow wind-ups, so once you're comfortable, you can just hop behind. He also sucks up the puddles that are near him every now and then to create his own shield. Remember how I said the shield was created for the other 2 perils anytime Tiger is alive? He can create his own shield, assuming that he is near puddles, but if you're actively cleansing puddles, he won't create this shield because there are no puddles to absorb. If there are puddles on the ground, he'll create a shield, do damage, or it disappears over time. And finally, the big attack, the FMA, is very similar to the Kalos Breath. He'll shoot a beam all the way across the map. But notice this hitbox indicator right here. It shoots on the bottom platform and does not shoot upwards like the other attacks onto the top platform. If Tiger is at the bottom, you see the line of lightning trail through the bottom, and there's like a little bit of like purple in there. None of the other attacks are purple, so once you can see a little bit of red, purple, blue, that's the FMA. Once you see it, you know that you can hop onto the top platform or just kind of blink above that space, and vice versa. If he's on top, you go to the opposite platform, verticality. You go to the bottom. Let him hit all the way across the map on top, you stay at the bottom, and you are safe. These are insta-hits. They will insta-kill you, and they create 2 puddles. Okay, back to what I was talking about regarding the Tesla coils. There are going to be 5 Tesla coils that spawn in on this map. They're large Tesla coils. There are smaller Tesla coils in between these spaces to allow you to cleanse the puddles. The large ones, anytime you set 3, either 3 on the left or 3 on the right, it will allow you to break Tiger's damage reduction. He has a consistent damage reduction, kind of like slime, those type of bosses. And or adversary, I guess. If you set up a triangle, however, during the window that the triangle is set up, you can do full damage and burst him. So what a lot of people will do is they'll go into this map and spawn in the middle. Tiger will be there with you. Hopefully he does a rush, dash, sometimes he does an FMA. It is a little tricky. If he's a little too far away from this Tesla coil, he can't actually activate it. You need him to be directly on the coil and attack you. So it takes a little bit of practice to kind of maneuver around that. Most people will set up left triangle. As I said, you go from 1, which is this middle area, to the top left, 2, and then bottom right, 3. You can use your interact key at these spaces to also aggro him. Once you're at the bottom left and Tiger is there with you, there will be a banner that appears that says something along the lines of like lightning yada yada. Once that's set up and you see this triangle glowing, it'll glow instead of just like a regular purple line. That's your cue to burst. You bind him, you burst him in this corner right here. Once he's unbound, you're going to play safe. That means avoiding all attacks or as much as possible while you wait for your burst to come up. So during the time, let's say like your burst is 30 seconds, you have another minute to stall out before you have to set up your coils again so that you'll have the triangle set up for the next burst. During that time, try your best to avoid the puddles because this gives Tiger Cage. Avoid standing on the same platform as him for the reasons of the FMA, and try to avoid his vicinity in general. If he is bottom, or in this example, he's top right, so you know not to stand on the top right platform. If he's bottom right, you can get hit by tornadoes and the slam attack if you're on the top platform. So maybe if you need to, you can blink above that space, but I'd just recommend going bottom left entirely. Focus on cleansing puddles and helping your team catch strings. This is very, very important. The red strings that spawn on the left side and the yellow strings on the right side will need constant management from the entire team. So you, once you guys start figuring out the gauge and how stuff increases and decreases, have to be aware like, okay, the gauge for Tiger is high. So I need to get some red strings so that I can decrease the Tiger gauge. You come to the left side and you catch red strings and you tell the party, anyone in bird to get hit, anyone else, please catch red strings, etc., etc. After Tiger is killed, you're going to get this purification skill. Anytime any of the perils in P1 are killed and you didn't boom their gauge, they will give you one of these additional bonuses. This one allows you to clear statuses specifically in P2, and statuses are very, very annoying. Okay, this is the dog map. Again, dog is equivalent to the yellow strings, so there's no yellow strings that spawn, only red strings on the left side and green strings on the right side. This map is a lot wider and it's only horizontal compared to the other two maps that have different platforms. Dog, for me, is the most difficult peril just because he has a lot of crazy attacks and the bonus of anytime that he's alive, you take 25% extra damage. So if he's still alive, you are also taking anyone in the bird or tiger rooms will also be taking 25% extra damage. His main mechanic is the smoke screen. It is your job to make sure that he does not go into the smoke screen whatsoever. It just kind of appears on the map, lasts like half a minute, and if he goes into the smoke screen, he will heal, and you'll get a 10% damage debuff to him. The way for you to make sure that he doesn't go there is just aggroing him to a different space, but sometimes it does happen where he does go into the smoke screen. He'll form this gauge above his head. You need to attack him in front of him to lower that gauge to 0 to bypass the debuff. So try your best. Don't let Tiger go into smoke screen. If he does, to attack in front of him. The smoke screens are also related to these spikes. Don't stand on any of the spikes. when the smoke screen is up. Because as you can see in this space right here, because the smoke screen is up, it will auto aggro and pop the spike if you're standing close to it. If the smoke screen is not on that space, you should be completely safe from all the other spikes. The spikes are going to be all across the map, by the way. Okay. He also has a rush attack. This one increases the dog gauge, equivalent to yellow strings, the purple dog gauge. He'll do a roar attack, which is kind of like the Kalos where he spits fire on both sides. This one, though, if you stand directly on the middle of him, you shouldn't get hit. This one also gives a debuff, which is really annoying. You increase the damage that you take and decrease your own final damage. So anytime you see that little kind of like blinking, like on his collar, that means he's going to do this attack, try to get either away from him or straight in the middle. He has this wipe attack, where he pretty much hits in front of him. That gives dog gauge. He has this slam attack. This one you can also dodge by being in the middle. If you play Smash, it's kind of like horns down B. It'll hit to both sides and gives dog gauge. And if you can't, if you're paying attention to the HP values in this specific peril, these values are a lot higher than Tiger and later Bird. So this is why I find it a little more difficult to survive in here, because the higher HP on each attack plus the 25% extra damage taken debuff that you naturally have because he's still alive makes it tough. This is another attack. This is the chains attack. He'll hone onto the position of you and your partner in this room with this orange indicator right here. After a while, he's going to shoot his dog chain towards that orange circle. If you stand away from the orange circle, you should be fine, but it's not one of those attacks that only hits this point. It will continue to travel like this. If you're standing in the middle between, or you move out of the orange circles and stand in the middle in between dog and the orange circle, you will still get hit by some of the chains that are traveling down here because you're like facing them directly. Your best bet usually is to blink or step backwards away from them. They give a lot of gauge, so be very careful, especially the first hit of the chains. Okay, and this is where everything kind of comes together. Every, not the exact timing, but every now and then you're going to go into test. It's recommended that you tell your party, hey guys, dog's in test right now, we can't catch strings. You should be focusing on surviving as much as possible. He'll go invincible and do this kind of like glowing purple animation, and all of the spikes on the map are going to be enhanced. Every time you stand on top of a spike, it'll take a second, but it'll pop. So your goal is to continue moving in a way that allows you to not stand on the spike that you previously stood on. What a lot of people will do is they will split a map evenly. One person goes on the left side and one person goes on the right side using skills like rush or fly, like the demon's fly, to go all the way to the corners and then circle back to the middle without stepping over to your partner's side. Doing that basically is double popping a spike. So if your partner is kind of like coming back to this spike and this otter is like moving here and popped it, they're both going to get hit. These attacks do 70% HP, so they will two-shot you. Be very careful of that. Here's a quick demonstration of how you can, other options for you to dodge it instead of like going all the way to a corner. If you know the timings properly, you can just stand between two spikes and be completely safe. I'm not great at that. Yeah. These do give dog gauge too, so be very careful, especially if you guys are in test and can't catch strings. Tell your party that you're in test so that they can focus on recovering the dog purple gauge if needed. The strategy for this fight most of the time is bind and burst as soon as you get in. No big deal. But in the off chance that you do need to play the for an extra burst or whatever have you, make sure that you're preventing him from getting into the smoke cloud as much as possible by aggroing him away from it. I also like to put the fountain in the middle, so if you and your partner have split of the map for test, you both have access to the fountain. When you come back middle, you can up arrow real fast and go back to dodging the spikes. As always, remember to split the map evenly so that you guys aren't double popping each other's spikes. Once dog is killed, you're going to get a 10% final damage bonus, assuming the gauge didn't completely boom. You're going to get a 10% final damage for your own damage in all phases in all other rooms. So it's really nice for the entire party to have the dog killed first. We generally put the strongest people in here just to make sure that the other perils are getting a little more assistance and we're not having to manage dog gauge as much. Finally, this is bird. Bird corresponds to the red string, so no red string spawn. If you want to increase his yellow gauge, you get hit by bird. But there are green strings on the left side and yellow strings on the right side. Bird doesn't really have anything special to it. It's probably the easiest peril out of the three, but you do need to make sure that you're clearing it as fast as possible. Take this as damage over time, if you will. Every 30 seconds for all the time that bird is alive, you will decrease your willpower naturally by 20. Doesn't seem like a lot, but in order to clear using cheese strategy or properly, you need to get out of bird in like 7.5 minutes. That's a lot of pressure for some min clearers, but you know, likely if you're doing this boss, you probably have more than enough damage for easy, and then are kind of like close-ish when you're doing normal. Bird will fly to 4 designated spots on the map. He usually starts with this attack coming in, so depending on how your party feels, you can wait for him to fly and then start bursting, or make sure that you land your origin as soon as you come in before the fly. He has a 20-second cooldown on this attack, so he won't move very far during the 20-second cooldown. So that's why it's a good time to burst or, you know, like fix gauge by getting attacked, yada yada. He'll fly to 4 designated spots on the map. These are the 4 spots. Take a picture, wait for the video to be uploaded. It'll be here. He will be invincible during the flight, and each of the every time you get hit by him, it's not a single tick of damage. There'll be small intervals of ticks, so tick, 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 that will increase the bird gauge and give you a tiny bit of 30% HP damage. He has a push attack, flings you backwards. It does a stun and knocks you back. Nothing too big to worry about, just kind of annoying that you get stunned. He also has a swipe attack that does the exact same thing, except for this one does 35% HP. And he has, again, that like Corn-esque attack where you're attacking on both sides. This one does knockback and stuns for 2 seconds and gives a lot of bird gauge. Your best bet is to kind of stay in the middle. And that's the case with all of these attacks. He has pretty obvious indicators which direction he'll lift his wings to attack. You know, if he's lifting them upwards like this, you stay in the middle. If he's lifting them, in this case, to the right, then, you know, stay to the left of him. close enough to the center to move left, etc., etc. And here's the test in quotations. He's going to do this every minute or so, where he'll go into a dimensional crack. There are going to be 4 dimensional cracks that spawn in each of the corners of the map. So top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. On the platforms, not like actual corners. One of those will have him hiding, which is the real bird, and all the other ones will be emptied. These are fake. Your goal is to, in 15 seconds, to find the real crack, attack it, and he'll respawn. If you fail it, you're going to take a lot, probably, I don't remember if it's an instant death, but there's not a chance in hell you're failing it. You have 15 seconds to find him, and if you don't, your bird gauge will increase by a lot. Okay, the strategy in this one, I mentioned it, bind and burst. If you feel comfortable, if you need a little more setup, you wait for the fly. During the time after your burst, as you're stalling out, remember to grab strings, like in Tiger. It's very important to grab the green strings on the left and the yellow strings on the right to help manage your gauge. Pay attention to where he is flying as well, into these 4 designated spots, so that if in the off chance that your party needs to catch red strings, you know that, okay, he's flying, I can move to the spot where he's standing and get hit by some of the knockback attacks so that I can increase the red bird gauge. After bird is defeated, you're going to get a buff that acts like a door, but it stacks on top of Heaven's Door and Aurelia's Elixir. Just an extra life, just to be extra safe, should be fine. The strategy overall for all of these perils is to make sure that you kill the most difficult ones for your party quickest. Generally, it is dog, and then bird, and then tiger. What that means is the people in dog need to get out pretty fast so that, like they're not dealing with the bullshit of the gauge and the extra damage taken. Those people, once they finish dog, will have 2 portals that spawn into the map in the middle area. This teal blue portal and this red portal. More often than not, the people in dog will go help the people in bird using the red portal, so that the willpower doesn't decrease. As soon as they are done with bird, they all go to tiger. Optionally, if the bird people kind of got it and, like they're saying that bird is almost dead, you can just go straight into tiger. Using the same strategies that I talked about with staying away from him, staying on different platforms, making sure you're cleansing or just dodging puddles, etc., etc., you guys can stall very, very long in Tiger and not worry about willpower, any deaths, or anything like that. Optionally, if you are a very overpowered party and don't need a lot of damage for P2, you can stall in Bird. Your willpower is not going to decrease enough to that 7.5 minute mark, where it's detrimental to stay in Bird. You kill Tiger, you kill Dog, you stall in Bird until at least everyone's burst is up. Maybe not an Origin burst, just regular burst. That was a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. If not, I'm going to keep going, but feel free to jot some questions down if you start thinking of any of those, especially because the gauge mechanics will continue in P2 and P3.
Wait, I had a question about dog test.
Yeah, sure.
So, how fast do you actually, need to be moving to, not get hit? Is just, flash jumping around enough, or...?
It's hard to tell, because every class has, different flash jump distances.
Oh, okay.
Your best bet is just going in, lasting a minute, and like trying out the test. For me, I had a really, really hard time adjusting from playing my Corsair. That can sort of fly through the spikes. You don't want to go too fast either because you won't have enough downtime for the spikes to like recharge. Um, Going from
Yeah,
that to my bowmaster where I like have a teleporter that I can put back in the middle and just kind of run across the map, hit teleporter, come back.
one thing that you can do is that you will see the spike move a little before it like attacks. So like if you're paying attention, you will see the move, and then you can move away.
Yeah. Good question though. All right. Does anyone else have
Yeah,
any
thank
other
you.
questions? If not, we're gonna go straight to P2. I'm gonna explain the mechanics of P2. Just be ready. Most, if not like all parties, except for like extreme Kaling and sometimes like min clear hard Kaling parties, always skip P2 by just binding and bursting out. So you don't really need to know any of these mechanics, but in the off chance that you're doing your heart mission, or like you want to do a solo challenge or something like that, I'll go through everything. Here's how the strings are set up in this map. This map is very, very wide and very tall. It has 3 platform sets. All of the red strings are on the left side, all of the green strings are on the middle, and all of the yellow strings are on the right. These are just approximations, by the way. They like it. Yellows can kind of extend here, greens can extend a little, etc., etc. You get a nice reward for getting out of P1. Your willpower will increase by 300. What that means is if you are at 700 when you leave P1, your willpower will be restored to full back to 1,000. If it's any higher, it's just going to cap at 1,000. If it's any lower, though, that's a nice bonus for you. If it's at 400, you get 300 extra willpower. That you're at 700 again. These are some of the recurring attacks from P1 that still happen. There's a ton of puddles that spawn naturally on the map. This time, you can't really cleanse it. You just have to avoid them. They give Tiger gauge, the Tiger blue gauge. And spikes will continue to appear. This time they just pop upwards if you're near them. Stand in the spaces between them. This gives dog purple gauge. You'll have clutches. I hate these because they will reposition you onto a random part of the map. Sometimes they'll throw you directly on spikes, they'll throw you directly on Kaling, they'll throw you directly on puddles. Don't stand on them. They're pretty easy to see because there's like a kind of like a jaw clamping, purple jaw clamping, and then it'll like puff the smoke cloud when it actually clutches. Also does a tiny bit of HP damage. Here are the predetermined clutch locations. You don't need to learn them, but they're here for reference. One of the bigger things you do need to look out for, even if you're cheesing and bursting out of this, is the bomb. You're going to get a status naturally every now and then. The status lasts 15 seconds, this purple status right here. And for every 4 seconds that you have the status on you, you're going to spawn a bomb that does 60% HP damage. You need to be away from your party anytime that you have this because the bomb explosions that happen every 4 seconds will also attack your party members. It's like not shared like Lucid where you guys stand together to decrease it. It's actually going to hurt them. The way you can cleanse this debuff is using your interact button and cleansing it with the Tiger P1 completion cleanse. If this doesn't really make any sense, think about White Curse in Black Mage. if you have White Curse, every now and then a little explosion is going to happen where you stand. Those are the bombs. It's pretty much the equivalent of that. There are going to be ghost explosions that happen all throughout the map. They do 60% HP damage, but the bigger thing is they decrease your willpower by 30. Imagine 6 people getting hit by one explosion, not accounting for the fact that explosions kind of like stack on top of each other as well. That's already 180 willpower completely gone just from a set of explosions. So be very careful to know where the explosions will happen. This is just a GIF of it. You can use this for reference. But more importantly, the safe spaces. All of these pink circles right here indicate the safe spaces that you can blink to be completely safe from the explosions. And by the way, the explosions happen in 2 different patterns. So note the general safe areas like far top right, far top left, this right corner right here, and this like left top-ish, mid-left top, as points to blink. You will be completely safe from those explosion attacks. Outside of those field attacks, Kaling also has some attacks. She's going to teleport to a random person, a random party member's spot. She's going to have a push attack. This one actually, and I didn't know that it gave different gauges. The next 3 attacks are going to give corresponding gauges to what they are. She's going to push and do 40% HP and increase the bird gauge. Don't stand in front of her when she does that. She also has a slam attack where she uses the same trident that Tiger does, that will increase the Tiger gauge and stun. Just don't stand where the trident is spawning. And finally, she's going to have a storm attack where she lifts the storm upwards and the cloud will spawn some spikes downwards on you. This will increase dog gauge. As you can see, all of these attacks have relatively short range. So most of the time, if you have a little room, try to not be completely like melee and on top of her. You can stand a little further back to make sure that you're not getting hit by everything. Like in bird phase, she also has flies, and she also has 4 designated spots where she will fly to. It's anytime you get hit by these fly attacks, it's going to be 25% HP per tick and increase the bird gauge because, you know, flying bird. Finally, she has it up. This is what I find the most annoying attack in here. This is her scroll. She'll open a scroll directly on top of her and it expands horizontally outwards. This does 35% HP, but the bigger thing is you will be animation locked if you are in the vicinity of this. You can't leave the scroll, and you're going to lose 10 willpower per second that you are standing in that picture, the sepia picture of the mountains and the clouds. Be very careful. Anytime you see that scroll kind of spawn on top of her, make sure to get away from it, either by jumping upwards or just away from her space, so that you don't get stuck in the picture. This is what I'm talking about in terms of skipping this fight entirely. What a lot of people will do is the cheese strategy for P2 and also cheese P3. P2 requires you to have your burst ready by the time that you enter, or your burst ready from P1 by the time you enter P2. So depending on what your party composition is, how comfortable you guys are with your run, we're just gonna say, for the primary example, everyone is stalling in Tiger until all 6 origins and all 6 bursts are up. After that, you're gonna kill Tiger, whatever remaining HP Tiger has, and go into P2. Don't skip the cutscene. because at the end of the cutscene, it will show the timer, like the boss timer on the top. 10 seconds after the time that's shown is the time that you are going to click your Genesis iframe. Once you spawn in, and if it's before the 10 seconds, if you're not lagging, go ahead and set up. But know that 10 seconds after the time that is shown after the cutscene, you hit your Genesis iframe and you start bursting. What most parties will do is around 7 to 10 seconds after, they will origin, and 10 seconds after that, bind. That gives you a window of approximately 30 seconds to burst, maybe even a little more if you are late to do your iframe. But 30 seconds to burst out of P2. In the off chance that you can't do that, you have to split your party evenly. The people who are designated, for example, bird, are going to go into the red string section. The designated bird in P1. The people who are designated tiger in P1 are going to stay in the middle section, and the people who are designated dog are going to go to the right section. This allows you guys to kind of manage the gauge without having somebody have to fly all the way from, like the yellow strings over here to red strings to fix bird gauge. It's a lot easier when someone is already present. Okay. I just kind of wanted to make a point that this is really overwhelming if you're playing it for real. But what a lot of people will do is they'll specifically just stall until they're ready to burst again after a fly. During that stall time, you are going to encounter the ghost explosions test per se. You need to go to the safe spots, and optionally, for people who are a little more comfortable with it, some of the safe spots, like right here, can be blinked on. You see it in this GIF right here where they just kind of like blink below and they're not getting touched by the explosions down there. This allows Kaling to kind of stay central. Sometimes when you go too far out, she can, her aggro gets a little whack, and it's really annoying to have to kind of like recover her into a spot where you guys can all burst. Optionally, if you have iframes, use it. Once you guys are all ready to burst again, you should wait for a fly. The fly, just like bird, also has a cooldown. You find the spot that she flies to, you bind, and you burst. Do not do it if you don't know when the fly is up. That's pretty much P2 for parties. But if you're planning on soloing, an option that a lot of people will use is the portals that travel upwards and downwards on the right side. You can see from this GIF, this person is attacking her, and anytime she does an attack, not the map attacks like the clutch and the puddles, anytime Kaling does an attack, they'll just go up and then back down so that they don't aggro her to the top. Yep, that is pretty much it. Same thing. You wait for a fly, you burst. If need be, because you're the only person in there, you need to know all of the things that give the specific gauges so that you don't also have to catch strings. Okay, P3 should be a culmination of everything that you've learned so far. Just remember the strings and which perils give what gauge. When you come in here, it's going to be confusing, and that's okay. It takes a long time to really learn everything, but using the cheese strategy that we're going to talk about a little bit in the strategy section, you should be able to focus on one gauge in particular, not have to worry about all three and balancing it out. So this is the map. It's pretty horizontal. There are no additional platforms or anything like P2. The left side spawns red strings, the middle spawns yellow strings, and the right spawns green strings. These correspond with the same perils that are going to be there. So on the left side is going to be bird, in the middle is going to be dog, and on the right is going to be tiger. As you can see from all these characters, they actually have a little symbol on top of their head indicating the 3 zones. The map is going to be split into 3 parts, and if you enter any of the zones with the perils, you're going to have that icon. So for example, this character, because they're in the left third of the map, they're going to have the bird icon. This character that's on the right, the farthest third right, is going to have the tiger icon above their head. And this character, you can't really see it behind tiger, but they're going to have the behind dog, the dog icon above their head. So anytime you are in this fight, pay attention to which icon that you have above your head, indicating where you are. The longer you stand in a zone, the more assume that you are like getting damage over time. You're going to increase the respective gauge of whichever zone you are in. So for example, this person on the left side right here is going to get is going to increase the bird yellow gauge just because they exist in here. But if there's somebody on the right side in tiger, it pretty much balances it out, right? So that is one of the strategies I'm going to explain, but there is a much more simple way to remember it. As always, remember that there are some recurring attacks that happen from P2 and P1. Notably, the bomb happens again. This is the status debuff that every 4 seconds takes a little damage, and you will explode damage towards your party members. So be sure to stand away from everybody else so that they're not taking additional damage from your own bombs. This is the clutch. It's going to teleport you to a random spot, and it's going to appear periodically on the ground. And then the chains from P1 are also going to happen again in P3, but they're very notable this time, especially for the people who didn't play dog in P1. So let's talk about the status, the bombs, and the buttons in particular. In this phase, instead of naturally getting the status and being able to use the P2 cleanse that you got from killing Tiger in P1, you only get bomb status if you are standing on top of a button that explodes. So you see right here, the button's going to turn from blue to purple and explode. If you're standing on top of that spot, you're going to get hit with that status that will periodically do the bomb every 4 seconds. Again, make sure you're staying away from your party members if you see that you have this pink claw animation above your head, because bombs. Or the easiest way is to make sure that you're not standing on a button. You might be asking, like, how do I prevent myself from standing on a button? The buttons will only appear in the zone that Kaling is not in. So take a look back at this. In this phase, Kaling is going to be freely moving about unless somebody is holding, and I'll explain that in a bit as well. So in this example, she's in the dog zone. The buttons will always only appear in bird and tiger when she is in the dog zone. If Kaling is in tiger zone, the buttons will appear in dog and bird because she is not in those zones. Tiger should be completely safe during that time if she's in here. Generally, Kaling's going to be in the middle anyways, so just keep an eye out for bombs in bird and tiger, but in the off chance that she drifts, that means she is moving away into a separate zone, she can have bombs appear in dog, since, you know, she's out of dog zone. Okay, let's go to the Kaling grab. This time, the grab is a little different because it can bowling ball you away. If you ever see her do that little clutch in front of her, that means you're going to get thrown towards the wall, either the left or the right side, depending on which side she's facing, and you're going to end up in the other peril, one of the other perils. So just be very careful of that. This does stun you, and more dangerously, you're, you know, like moved into a different peril. So if multiple people get grabbed in the party, you guys are screwing up gauge. Easily dodgeable by just being in the air or like behind her whenever you see that forward, a diagonally forward facing claw. This is the slam attack. Simply does damage in front of her. She has a forward slam and a backward slam. You can be in the air or just in the opposite direction of the indicator. So for the forward slam, you stand behind her. For the backward slam, you stand in front of her or use the air for both. Okay, and this is the picture. Everyone should know what this looks like, even if you are not holding, which I'll explain in a bit. This is the attack that can knock you back in both directions into the other zones. Pretty simply, you can just up jump above it and be fine, or stand directly in the middle where she is opening that zone, the purple right there, and be completely safe from this. This is more important when you want to cross over to a different peril or like start attacking on the other side to hit the opposite peril. Just be wary of this. Okay. And this is the FMA. The FMA only happens after all the other perils are dead. So you will not actually face this FMA anytime soon in P4 until the very, very end. It's going to happen every 30 seconds and it bypasses all iframes. So what that means is if you have a short duration iframe, a curring, your Jenny iframe, this will not work on it. The way to escape this FMA and be safe from it is to stand in the peril that Kaling is not in. Specifically in easy and normal Kaling, just stand in the peril that she is not in. So for example, in this picture, it looks like she's in dog, or in this GIF, it looks like she's in dog. So I would go to either bird or tiger to dodge this. In hard and extreme, she actually attacks 2 zones. So make sure that you are paying attention to the banner that actually appears telling you which zones, but I personally can't even catch it in time to read it. So the play for most of those parties is actually to drag her into either tiger or bird and let, for example, if she's in tiger, which is on the far right, the 2 zones that will be exploded are tiger and dog. So you can simply go into bird and vice versa. If she is in bird, she will explode bird and dog. So you go to tiger. Just only for hard and extreme Kaling. Okay, let's get to the perils. All 3 of the perils are back in their ghostly form, and they all have separate attacks. This is the tiger lightning. The lightning only appears if anyone is inside the tiger zone. So if you are outside of it, he won't attack. But the second that anybody steps into his zone, we'll have these lightnings that actually occur in numerical order. I'm not really good at identifying them, but just know there is an order to this. It's very, very dangerous to get hit by one of these lightnings because of stun. So let's think back to the Kaling bowling ball grab, right? Assuming that Kaling throws you right into tiger and you get hit by the lightning because you're bowling balled into the zone, the lightnings are going to start to appear. Not only are you going to get stunned for the duration of the grab, you are also going to get stunned by the lightning. Getting stunned by both means that you are in the tiger zone. Not only are you catching the lightning to increase the tiger gauge, you are also increasing the tiger gauge just by existing in the zone. Be very wary about this and make sure if you can dodge them. They only happen 2 at once. So you can kind of dodge them and step back out as needed. This is the dog chain. For anyone who played dog in P1, pretty much identical. Anyone who hasn't, this is probably your first exposure with it. Again, I'm going to kind of re-say what I did. a circular chain indicator is going to appear on top of all the characters in the party. This pink one, pink, purple, and then afterwards, he will shoot his dog tag chains towards the members. These attacks are shared by the party, by the way. So if there is anyone who has who is standing in a position like in the air or like on the side right here, those homing zones will actually target those spots as well. So it's be very careful to kind of stick together during that time. And this gives dog gauge. And this is bird. This attack is really easy to dodge because they are gigantic and the indicators are like very, very slow and apparent. He's going to spawn some tornadoes, kind of like in the same manner that spikes happen. If spikes happen in Black Mage, indicators are going to be on the ground, and then after like a second or two, tornado is going to pop up in that spot. But the thing about this is the tornadoes actually fling you. They do knock back, so be very careful if you are facing left towards the left wall and get hit by one of these tornadoes. You can get like thrown back into the left wall and be stuck in bird. Not a huge deal because they are gigantic. You should be able to see them pretty clearly, but just know that it exists just in case you get bowling balls or something. Some notable things that I do want to talk about from the previous mechanics. Before we even go to any strategies, these are things you just have to know and remember. As always, if you have the status debuff, the bomb, stay away from your party members. That means you can either blink in the air directly above Tiger, or tell your party members, hey, I have bomb, I need to blink in Bert, I need to blink in Tiger. Optionally, you can also iframe, but the bombs popping will bypass that. It's just more so for your own safety. The clutches will likely put you, there's a 66% chance, right? Because the map is divided in 3. 66% chance anytime you get a clutch, you're going to be thrown into a different perils zone. Anytime you are in a zone that Kaling is not in, you cannot heal. I'll say it again. Anytime you are in a zone that is not where Kaling is, you cannot heal. So it's very important to dodge these in particular so that you don't, like have the potion restriction and you're not fucking up your party's gauge. And one of my biggest pet peeves is regarding the chains. You see how all the chains are hitting this otter at the very bottom right here because he's standing still at the bottom. However, if somebody is jumping or, like Adele's and Ilium's sometimes have to use the airspace, if they are blinking in the air, multiple chains will be hitting in the space in the air that they previously were. Most people use blink to dodge chains. And you can kind of see where this is going, right? Like if all the spots up here are being hit by chains, I can't dodge the ones down here and the ones up here. It's very tough. So make sure that as much as possible, stay on the ground so that you're not screwing up your party members by being in the air and aggroing the chains up there. The final notable mechanic is holding. This is usually going to be one person's job because only one person can get this buff around them. They're going to turn gold anytime they hit their interact button. And Kaling will aggro towards that person, allowing the rest of the party to focus on attacking and managing strings on their own without, having to worry about all of Kaling's knockback attacks or slams or bowling ball thing, etc., etc. One thing I should mention regarding this is in a very recent patch, they've added statues that correspond to each of the perils. Some attacks that only hit one mob or some of the, not projectile, like the tiny honing type attacks will hit Kaling instead of the peril that you want it to hit. So Nexon has added the option for you to interact with that statue using your interact button and allow all your attacks to directly hit that specific perils. Like if you're hitting the tiger statue, all your attacks will hit tiger. If you are holding and you don't notice and you're standing on top of a statue, the statue's interaction will come before you can even get the hold interaction. So be wary if she's not aggroing towards you or you don't see the yellow buff around your character, that means you interacted onto a statue instead of the natural holding one. Find a space without a statue. Sometimes it's good to like blink in the air or jump in the air, hit your interact button, and Kaling should aggro to the holder. So here are the strategies. The normal strategy is you guys will spawn in the middle and split into 3 groups, just like in P2. 2 people in red, 2 people in bird, 2 people in dog, and 2 people in tiger. A lot of the times, supports will also kind of hinge or stay in this kind of like middle area so that when they're bursting, for example, if you're a bishop, you have benediction that's pretty wide. The benediction can be shared for the people in tiger and dog. Also, if you have fountains, place them in that zone right between the perils so that, like the side perils also have access. We do not play P3 like that. It's very annoying, not very fun. You only really do that when you're soloing and killing them one by one. A lot of people, even if they're soloing, still use cheese. The cheese strategy is a little dangerous. It's not guaranteed because your willpower will decrease to 300 after the other 2 gauges boom. You're using cheese strategy, you only want to focus on 1 gauge, the bird yellow gauge. By allowing these other 2 gauges to naturally boom by, like a lot of the times you're just accidentally getting hit by stuff in the fight, dog will hit you with chains and all that. You boom purple, dog, and blue, tiger, leaving this yellow bird gauge to focus on. You will have 300 willpower after that instead of the usual 1,000. 300 means less deaths cumulatively for the party, so just be very careful. However, the easy part with the cheese strategy is you only have to manage 1 gauge now. Anytime you want the gauge to increase, to fill up, you get hit by red strings or bird attacks or go into the bird zone. Anytime you want to decrease the gauge, you go onto the opposite side, into tiger, either naturally, strings, his lightning bolt attacks, which I don't really recommend, to decrease the yellow gauge. The yellow strings, all of the things by dog, will not affect this gauge. Okay, so what a lot of people will do using the cheese strategy is they're all going to spawn in the middle. They move left first. Going left allows your entire party to safely aggro, even if you don't have a holder yet. Safely aggro Kaling to the left side. Once on the left side, one person who is the designated holder will, there are statues back here, so make sure that you're not interacting on top of the statues. They're going to use their interact button to get the yellow aura to hold. Kaling will travel towards them. Once Kaling is over on this left side and they're still holding, the rest of the party is going to move right to kill Tiger first. Part of the reason why we do this is because the bowling ball attack is really, really annoying. That attack really only happens after one peril dies, but if you have Tiger still up, like you get hit by a bowling ball, you get flung into Tiger, and you get stunned by lightning bolts, you're going to be stuck in here. You're going to screw up the gauge a lot more than if you were in, you get flung into Bird, which the tornadoes are going to fling you right back out. So the entire party goes to the right, bursts, And more importantly, they set up their fountain on the right. I like to set the fountain as the spot for the party to stand on. But if your party is a little more comfortable, you can set it closer to the right, left, whatever as needed. Be very careful during this time that you're bursting, because some green strings are actually going to pass that line right there. So, you catch green strings on accident during burst, and you're gonna have to go to red, go to bird to like increase it. Another thing is some classes like Paladin, like Buck, cannot hit into these separate perils. Kind of sucks for y'all. Usually those are the classes designated to hold, but if you are not a holder and you're one of those classes that cannot hit Tiger without going into the Tiger zone and cannot hit Bird without going into the Bird zone, you're just gonna have to attack Dog. Okay, burst is done, Tiger's dead. We're gonna do the exact opposite thing. The entire party is going to come to the right, or the entire party stays right. The holder is going to come right with them and drag Kaling using the hold interaction. The rest of this party is going to go left, put their fountain down, burst, kill bird. And finally, same thing with dog. You guys are going to stay on the same side usually, and kill dog using that same fountain. It can get a little tricky. Remember what I said about drifting when she moves into any of the separate peril spaces? If she drifts sometimes towards the rest of the party, it is kind of smart for you guys to hop back where the holder is, stay with them until Kaling gets drawn back to them, or if you guys just need to reset entirely and all go to that side and the holder goes on the opposite side, kind of like Saren, you have to play it accordingly. So that means the person who is holding gets to be in charge of all those types of callouts. They can be like, Kaling's drifting. Can you guys move left so I can stay right? Can you guys move right so I can stay left? I'll come right, etc., etc. Whatever the holder wants to do is what you guys are going to follow. Once dog is dead, there's just Kaling left. Just remember, anytime that she does the FMAs, if you're standing in the same zone as her, you will not survive, even if you are iframed. Get into the zone outside of that. That's pretty much it with the fight. Pretty much is a little crazy to say because it's like an hour and 50 minutes of content. But these are all the items that Kaling drops. The notable ones are the Kalingroid, which lets Kaling follow behind you. It's really cute. You get fragment cookies for doing easy all the way through extreme. Easy gives one of these half cookies that combine to make a big cookie. If you're doing normal, you get 2 small ones, which combine to be a big one. And you can get the Eternal Armor box from hard and above. This allows you to select any of the hat, top, bottom, or shoulder. Finally, some grindstones. You can get the level 5 grindstone, the grindstone of life from normal and above, and the grindstone of faith, which allows you to get to level 6 from hard and above. Does anyone have any questions?
I kind of do,
Yeah, go for it.
but not really a question. So I'm in my party. I'm the one who is a buck who can't actually hit both. So I guess I need to learn how to hold her.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, what sort of tips do you have for someone who need to learn how to hold Kaling during P3?
Yeah, I mentioned the whole like not trying to interact on top of the statue, but generally,
Which one is statue?
I don't have a picture.
By the banner?
No. I don't have a picture, but they're literally statues of the perils. There's going to be a dog statue that is on kind of like the left side, a bird statue to the left of the dog, and a tiger statue on the right. If anyone who is not the holder or like during the cooldown of the hold buff, they interact with any of those statues, they're going to be attacking that specific. All their attacks are going to be honing in on that specific peril statue that they attacked. Number one tip, obviously learn where to stand to use your interact holds buff. Number two is also learn the spacing of this map. Your job is to know how far Kaling can go left when she's closer to Bird, or right when she's closer to Tiger, without her drifting out of that zone, but at the same time not drifting to where the party is and doing all of her knockback attacks that fling the party members into other perils. This one is kind of a you gotta get a feel for it by getting in there type of thing, but it's a quick pickup. The final thing with holding is you need to memorize all of her attacks. So you have the grab, the bowling ball grab, the slam, the backward slam, and the pick.
Right.
Every single one can be dodged by being in the air. If you're up jumping consistently, and the indicator is so long, if you're dodging or you're like missing the indicator, it's like you're not looking at your screen. They take forever to wind up. So anytime she does anything that's not just like moving left or right, you jump in the air, you should be safe.
Got it.
Great question.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions about Kaling?
It's about the statues. Like what? Like why does it matter if it's activated or not? Like what is like the downside to activating it? I guess.
Okay. I'll give an example for myself. So recently, I've been bossing a lot more on my marksman. Marksman's main bossing attack is snipe. Without using the statue, for reference, snipe is a one target attack, and then if I have split shot, which is like the strong buff that allows all my skills to like split off and stuff. If I am standing in this middle area right here where dog is and attacking dog, my snipe will automatically hit the highest HP mob in the map, which will be Kaling. So I'm not getting any damage on dog. If I use the statue, that allows me to directly target dog. There's really no downside outside of the person holding can get their hold interrupted if they accidentally interact on top of a statue. But maybe the bigger thing I think is like if the cooldown for interact, the hold interact just came off and somebody is trying to hit a statue and they're standing in the space away from the statue and they accidentally get the holding buff, you can get kind of fucked by that because the holder will no longer have aggro. Does that make sense?
I kind of do now. I did have a question about that too.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'll give a quick example. If you, me, and Carl were in the party together, Carl's the person holding, right? Because he's a buck.
Yeah.
If I were on my marksman and I was trying to attack dog and accidentally hit the interact button while Carl is waiting for the cooldown to come back up for the interact, but I don't see myself on the statue, like I'm trying to hit the dog statue to interact so that I can aggro dog or attack dog, right? I'm going to get the hold instead of Carl, which means Kaling is going to come into the opposite direction towards the rest of the party where you and me are standing. So I have to pivot quickly to holding. But for someone who doesn't know how to hold or, like hasn't had the experience, y'all are kind of fucked. So that's the major downside with it.
So it's like if you're not worried about that with like the single target moves and stuff, then just don't interact with the statues.
Right. This also
Okay.
kind of counts for classes that have, I mentioned earlier, like projectiles. Like if you think Phantom, all their cards will also always hit the highest mob, HP mob. So if you have those types of projectiles that auto hone, make sure that you're interacting with the statues.
Okay.
It's not.
Oh, so as in like, for example, if my red have those pedals
Yeah.
going flying off, you also like I will also have to interact with the pedal. Otherwise, the pedal will actually just not hit.
Yeah. The pedals will hit
Oh,
Kaling instead of dog.
I see. That's good to know. So the statue that spawns, after interacting with them, how long do you have in like time frame wise, or does it actually last for the entire fight?
I have to believe it's the entire fight. I mean, like once the peril is
Okay.
used, it's like gone. Like if you want to hit Tiger with it, interact with the statue, it dies. You can't hit Tiger anymore. I may
Got
be
it.
wrong, but I haven't seen myself switch targets ever if I interact with the dog statue.
Got it. Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess I need to start interacting on characters that have these attacks. That's good to know. Thank you.
Right. Great questions, y'all.
Because funny enough, I also have a paladin, which also can't hit. So I think I'm one of those
Yeah.
who actually have to fucking hold the whole Kaling.
Yeah, that's fine. Just takes some getting used to. And most of the time, if you are holding and the rest of your party, by the way, all 3 perils can be regular bound and origin bound. So if your party is like bursting, somebody has an origin, you have 20 seconds of leeway to attack dog during the time that you're holding. So you can still get a lot of damage off during that time.
While you're holding, are you supposed to actually attack dog as well, or you just not supposed to do any damage during that phase?
Should be to optimize your damage, but a lot of people opt to just kind of focus on holding. I think like for your buck, for example, your Lord of the Deep is always going to be out, so you're going to do a majority of your damage anyways.
Right.
But like, if you're not used to it and you just want to practice holding, the main thing is just making sure that your interact hold buff is available and used.
Oh, I see. Because I can technically accidentally hit interact, but hitting the statue instead of just the instead of holding buff.
Yes.
Oh yes. Okay. Understood. Okay. Right. Thank you.
That'll be a bigger issue for you because it doesn't go on cooldown or anything if you're hitting a statue. You're interacting with a statue. The buff doesn't go on cooldown. But if you see yourself like repeatedly tapping it and nothing is happening, Kaling can just drift. She can move anywhere she wants.
I see.
Okay. If no one else has any questions, let's go ahead and meet up at Channel 5 and do some practices. Okay, since we're all here, are y'all ready to go into the pop room? It'll be practice mode, so set your practice mode buffs.
What's the calling command for the Discord?
Exclamation Kaling.
Okay.
Yeah, pull up your charts, whatever you need.
Yeah, I gotta have that thing up.
Yep. Nick and I can also help do callouts as well to help you pick those things up. But in general, most of the callouts for this fight are going to be string colors instead of peril colors. So you have to know like red strings correspond to bird, yellow strings correspond to dog, green strings correspond to tiger. I think for this one, I can show tiger. Nick, do you want to do dog and blast, and then we stall and bird with Nick?
Yeah. Do you just want me to go to bird after?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Wait, so me and Tiger?
No. You're gonna be in
Oh.
bird.
And bird. Okay.
And we will help you out, so don't worry. Okay. Select your peril by clicking on it and then hit the ready button in the middle. Okay. And once everybody is ready, the party leader has the option of going, so they click go. FMA.
Dog is dead.
Yeah, I'm working on Tiger. You can see I'm just kind of like aggroing him to these spaces. There's a cooldown on all interaction skills. And for the most part, comms, you don't need too many comms for Tiger and Bird. Most of the comms are related to dog and them telling us when dog test happens. Okay, since Nick already killed.
Oh, so I'm getting hit by birds, so the yellow one's going off.
Yeah. So now
That's-
we want to
okay.
get hit by a little bit of yellows and maybe like one green. Yeah. Yep. As you can see, bird is just kind of whacking wherever it flew. Just gonna wait those things out. Fly.
Wait, so does fly increases the gauge?
Fly
too,
also
technically?
increases the gauge. It counts as individual ticks.
Okay.
It's like if you're kind of like riding his ass,
Okay.
you get gauge for each tick.
Okay. So if the gauge is like this, then like should I just not be hitting him and only trying to get greens?
I think the gauge is fine. So generally we stall. So what that means is like you leave like right now he has 5%. We stall until everyone's cooldowns are up so that we can blast through P2. But yeah, just focus on fixing gauge now.
Okay.
Okay, are y'all's cooldowns up?
Yeah, my cooldowns are all.
Okay, let's go ahead and phase. So again, I'm not gonna skip the cutscene in here. If you saw, the willpower increased back to 1,000 because we didn't hit below. No one died, so we didn't hit below 700. It's 2704, so iframe at 54. Set up. Iframe.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
wait, I got put in the scroll. What?
Yeah, you got pulled into the scroll, but we bound, so it didn't stay out.
Okay.
This is P3. I'm going to hold, so go ahead and follow Demon Slayer Nick and stand basically on top of where he's standing on the left side. Don't go any further and double check that you have the dog icon, the purple dog icon above your head.
Yeah, I do.
As y'all can see, the statues are here. If I
I see them.
Yeah.
Oh, I got pulled.
You're good. Okay.
Oh wait, red is purple.
Now
Oh
you
wait,
can go
no,
ahead and
red's mine is
cross.
purple. Wait, what?
You can cross to where Nick is standing, and then you guys should just focus on attacking, waiting out your burst. Don't just stay in that spot where Nick is standing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just stand here and just hit over to Tiger. Just be really careful. Sometimes the green strings kind of float in to where we are. And you're a little far forward. You'll get like the tiger symbol above your head. You want the dog symbol. So you want to stand about here. Just like literally stay still and attack over.
We I don't see the buff that you talking about. Is it around you, that golden glow?
It doesn't stay the entire time, but it's that gold.
Oh,
Wait, so if I get hit by yellow,
Here,
it
right
doesn't
here.
matter?
Right there.
Right. Yep.
Like, it
Because
doesn't
we
do
oh, I
boom
see it. Okay, now I see it. Okay.
we boom the 2 gauges that affect the
Yeah.
yellow gauge. So getting hit by anything from dog won't affect us.
Okay. Y'all want to burst tiger? Then I can burst bird.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if we also mentioned this, but you can't heal in P3 unless you're in the same peril that Kaling is in.
Oh.
It's kind of unfortunate.
Yes,
So you're
it
like,
has. Yeah.
you're really far forward. You ideally always want to be staying in dog, no matter what.
Okay.
Gonna drag her, since
Yeah,
tiger is dead.
I don't really have like the
Careful.
range to get all
You
the way
can-
to tiger.
You have a bomb on top of you.
what?
Be careful.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Try to move to the right side. Nick, can you go into dog or bird to fix?
Yep.
Thank you. She's drifting. Be careful of bombs.
And ideally here we want to be standing where I am here.
Okay.
And you can literally just stand in one spot, attack, and then when the change of the clutch happen, you just up jump. And that's it.
Okay.
Just finish her off. You also get extra final damage by standing in the peril that you're attacking, by the way. But I do not recommend that for party members who are, or parties that are just learning the fight. That's more of like, you guys set up and make sure that the gauge is like either lower or higher depending on, you know, which peril you're gonna be attacking.
Yeah.
So I got grabbed. Please be careful. I have, she might be drifting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so now we both have bombs, so we gotta stay away from each other.
Oh. Wait, how did I die?
Oh,
From the
since you're
bomb?
dead, and in the bird peril, you need to revive, otherwise you will increase the bird gauge for us. Try to come back
Oh.
and just stay in dog. FMA? Just knock this thing out. Okay, now we enter the final part where she can do the FMA, but you know, we'll just send it. Usually you wait for your burst to be ready and you guys all burst at once just so that you don't encounter the FMA, but in the off chance it happens, remember hands explosion, go into the peril or the zones that she is not in. And that's Kaling.
But so do you do the cheese strat in P3 just like no matter what? Or
It
or is it like if your party doesn't clear bird in the beginning fast enough, you can't really do
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. It
Okay.
depends on how min-max your clear is. So, yeah, like if you don't clear fast enough in bird, if you lose a lot of willpower in P2, a lot of people always come with cheese strat in mind, so they aim to make sure that they're out of bird instantly, they're out of P2 instantly. This is really only for like min clear parties that need, you know, all the damage, all the willpower that they can get, just in case. I think a lot of the people who've been doing the Destiny libs have also been using cheese strat for themselves.
In a solo for the e card for the obviously the hard module, what like looking at Scouter, it did say you're good to go, but what how should I gauge whether it's actually doable or not?
And truthfully, you need to get to P2 to even check. A lot of people gauge which difficulty that they do depending on how comfortable your P2 is.
I
If
see.
you're uncomfortable with like doing all of that in P2,
Mhm.
make sure that you have enough damage to blast through P2 by just going in and killing all the perils in P1 and testing it. Otherwise, you can just use the
I
portal.
see.
Yeah,
Damn.
otherwise you can just use the portal method. That's pretty reliable. And then every time the
Right.
ghost explosions come up, you just dodge.
Because I just did mine easy. I like one burst one burst like 50% of tiger. So I feel like I'm probably not ready in that sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'm only 50%, so I'm not really bursting it enough. Okay. Yeah,
So
just trying to gauge whether I can do it or not. I guess not.
it's always good
Seems like too
to,
much of effort.
try those things out and make sure. So I'm just going to do a solo demo so that everyone can see all 3 perils. Maybe I'll get out of P2 and P3 as well solo. Just to kind of show people how to do the... Okay, he's dead. So, go to bird. If you're doing it solo, they spawn in when you enter the room, not like if you have party members, they would auto be spawned in and probably be in a different spot than they were originally.
Yes.
Also, in bird, I like to put the fountain here. I don't have it up right now, but just in the middle area so I can always come back to it if needed. So I noticed my gauge is a little low on the yellow end, and I'm worried that if I increase my tiger gauge, or yeah, FMA. Since I'm already on this side, I may as well set up left triangle, just to show. Reds and yellows. The one thing that is a little annoying about soloing is your gauge management really has to be on point, because every time you catch a string or get hit by something, 2 gauges are affected. So, you know, you need to know like which one affects what. What a lot of people will also do is they'll take a ton of yellows and reds preemptively, because puddles naturally spawn in P2. So you can prepare for that if you don't like burst within the 30 seconds, and you still got hit by puddles after origin and bind. They'll prepare by lowering the blue gauge as much as possible so that the puddles in P2, if they affect you, won't be too bad. Okay. This is P2. I'm not going to skip the cutscene. $39. 29 iframe. You can see I have the bomb above my head, using my interact button to cleanse it. You know the vibe. I'm gonna get her down just enough so I can demo that fly and the subsequent attacks. Fly. Scroll. Wait. Okay. All right. After
There's also a safe spot on the far left of that middle platform that's really convenient for solos.
Okay. That was P2. The other two gauges don't really matter for me because I'm still going to play cheese strategy in P3. This one is a little trickier, just because you're going to have to deal with dog and Kaling at the same time. But summon her.
I sort of missed it. Did you interact with dog first, and then you don't, because you're soloing? It doesn't matter whether you interact with the yellow pulling bubble.
I did my interaction with Kaling first before,
Oh,
because the dog statue is
I
already
see.
over here, right? I
Right.
only do the dog interaction when dog is the final remaining peril and my attacks don't auto hit.
Oh yeah, sorry, you were doing tiger first. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because I just missed that when I was looking away. Okay.
Yeah, y'all get the point.
Yeah, and when you're soloing, do you still need to pull her? You do. I did see you do that. Okay, I see.
You should, yeah. Oh,
Oh, I see.
oh, I accidentally killed dog. Well,
Does it matter if you accidentally kill dog?
for the most part, no. She just adds extra attacks in every time you kill a peril, so it just becomes more annoying. It's like dog is the easiest to dodge. Stuff
Right.
for. Oh yeah, I forgot. She's bindable. all the perils are dead, I'm going to focus Kaling. I will hopefully be able to demo the FMA as well. The grabs, the clutches, and strings continue to spawn during this. Not like you're phasing into anything new. Okay.
Oh, he's the FMA. Oh.
Yeah, well, the clutch got me anyways, but yeah, I was planning on moving the bird anyways. There you go. That is the.
But I didn't get to see where is the where is what's the word? Which area has been affected though? Did it? I didn't really see it.
The area affected in easy and normal is the one that Kaling is standing on.
Oh, it's always
Yeah.
okay.
In hard and extreme, it'll be 2 zones. The 2 zones closest to her, but it can be tricky when it's she's in dog, right? Because there are 3 zones next to her. I think it's based on RNG, but what a lot of people tell me to do is like you need to be moving her into bird or tiger in preparation for that FMA, so that you can go to the zone that is the furthest away from it.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah, but that is Kaling.
But-
If you guys have any
Well, it
questions.
tells you the name of the zone, right? That is going to affect.
I'm sorry?
Like, doesn't it like isn't the FMA you just look at the name that's
Yeah, it's
in
on
the
the banner,
message?
but some people don't have that reflex. So
I don't think you can read it that fast, to be honest.
Oh,
rather be safe than sorry.
Because you at that point you're kind of panicking where you're gonna dodge the attack. So
oh yeah.
I don't think a lot of people would have the time to read.
But any final thoughts? Any final questions before we convene?
Wait, I have a so
Yeah.
what do you do if like I don't really get how the cheese strat works if you're playing a class that like doesn't really have a lot of range. Because like you're like standing in that little area, but like I don't even know if I could hit dog if I'm standing on that like that like split zone.
cheese strat can work. It takes a lot of careful planning, but what you'll have to do is, say for example, I'm trying to cheese tiger at first, tiger on the right side. I need to prepare my gauge, my single yellow gauge, to as high as I'm comfortable with by being in in bird. Once I get it to a comfortable range, I go into tiger for my burst, and then immediately after my burst finishes, after I'm un-iframed, I get out of there so that my gauge doesn't lower any more than it needs to. And then you'll keep doing that for all the perils. Well, you should be able to hit dog regardless, but if for tiger and bird. So yes, you can play cheese strategy even if you're super melee. It is very, very annoying. And a lot of people I know opt to just like do it normally without booming the gauges. Does that make sense? Sorry if I don't have a visual for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess kind of. I mean, I'm just gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah. Essentially,
from what
just know that if you are the only person that's doing damage in your party and you need to attack those 2 perils, go to the opposite side, prepare your gauge accordingly. So if you're going into bird, you need to get it, or if you're going to be attacking tiger, you need to get your gauge as high as possible. So any of the time that you're in tiger attacking, your gauge is going to get decreased, and vice versa. If you're attacking bird, you need to get your gauge as low as possible so that you increase your gauge while you're attacking tiger or bird. And during the times of your burst, you burst and then you get out of there just to continue holding, just to continue doing damage for tiger, or doing damage on dog. Yeah, it trips me up too, like explaining it. Okay. Any final thoughts? All right, great. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. Next week will be our final session. We're going to be teaching Limbo. We'll do adversary like closer to summer. But thank you again. Remember to use the exclamation Kaling command to get your Hui certified Kaling gauge. And yeah, thanks y'all. Bye.
Thank you.